When I was a kid, I remember vanilla Coke being a big deal.
Reward your curiosity with new vanilla Coke.
Because up until that point, Coke was just Coke. But now it was slightly different and it blew everyone's minds. But today, the exciting new drinks on the market aren't made by PepsiCo and Coca-Cola. It's a bunch of innovative startups pitching new functional features that soda never had before. Companies like Olipop and Poppi are just some of the bigger names in what has become a real Wild West of the beverage world, and the whole thing just feels kind of off to me. A lot of these drinks are promoted and developed as a sort of pop or soda alternative, but that doesn't mean that you should just be drinking these things instead of like water. Today's video is sponsored by Ground News. Okay, so I have been saying soda and pop interchangeably, and I have to acknowledge, of course, that everybody says it differently apparently in the US. So here I am acknowledging that yes, some of you call it pop, and a whole bunch of other people call it soda, and then a disturbing number of people call it Coke, even if it's not Coke. Regardless of what you called the original, a functional beverage that we're talking about today is any non-alcoholic drink that provides specific health benefits. So in this episode, we're going to be saying the phrase functional sodas to describe this category that has recently become very popular, mainly because of companies like Olipop and Poppi, which you've probably heard of, probably the reason why you clicked on this video, honestly. But there is a surprising number of these prebiotic sodas out there already. Now, I also have to clarify that there is an entire other class of these beverages called adaptogenic sodas, which falls under the functional beverage category. This is drinks like Recess, DeSoy, Daydream, and maybe the most popular one is Kinyu Forks. We're going to be talking about that later, but we're going to talk about the prebiotics one right now because it's a little less crazy. Right off the bat, look at the aesthetics of these brands. Like if you pull them up all side by side, and we can do that because we have an editor, Matthew. Thank you, sir. Look at how similar these all kind of look. Like the vibes are the same, right? And they also use the term pop a lot, it seems like. And I'm not just bringing this up because it's interesting. This is actually a very deliberate homage to the category that they're trying to disrupt. These new sodas are healthy, or at least that's the pitch anyways. Each piece of marketing uses phrases like hand-picked, supports gut health, boosts your inner ecosystem, mood-enhancing botanicals. You get the point. But there is also a very specific branding thing going on with all of these brands in this category. A focus on nostalgia, a sort of freedom to enjoy the sodas the way that we used to when we were kids before we knew that they were terrible for us. This specific sort of marketing feels very targeted at millennials and of course, Americans in particular. And we're going to be talking about that a little bit later, but first we're going to talk about the health claims, because we should talk about the health claims. Now, I'm not going to labor the details. I'm not going to be the channel that explains the very specific ways that prebiotics interact with your body and whatever. We're gonna break it down in some very basic terms, and if you're really serious about it, you can watch some other videos on the subject or do your own Googling. So, these drinks are promoting themselves as healthy because of the prebiotics and sometimes adaptogens that they infuse them with, and the low calorie and low sugar content compared to regular soda or pop. But here's the thing, low calorie pop with artificial sweeteners isn't really an innovation anymore. Plus, the sugar content might be lower in these beverages, but there is a lot of sweeteners in these drinks. Poppi, for example, has 3 different kinds of sweeteners in their drinks: cane sugar, agave, and stevia. And then on top of this, it also contains fruit juice. But the fiber content of these beverages is really the big story. This is the prebiotic fiber that they've infused into these drinks to supposedly support digestive health. As Olipop points out correctly on their website, most of us are low in fiber generally, and these drinks are pitching themselves as a solution. Olipop does contain enough fiber to make their claim semi-legit because they have 9 grams of fiber per can, which is kind of a lot. But Poppi actually had to face a lawsuit because of their comparatively low levels. And a big element of this lawsuit is that the amount of sugar in these drinks would basically negate the potential health benefits of the fiber anyways. Now, Poppi settled that lawsuit for $8.9 million, which is actually not a lot in the beverage industry, honestly. And we found this story on Ground News, an app and a website dedicated to gathering thousands of news articles from all around the world and putting them in one place. Guys, we love Ground News. They are one of our best sponsors. They're such a great team to work with. We keep working with them because we love them and we think that you're gonna love them too, so feel free to check them out at ground.news/LH. Now, this story is really interesting because you can tell clearly that this isn't something that right-wing news outlets are covering. Most of these titles just focus on the consumer and how they can benefit from the class action lawsuit, but there's a couple in there talking about the misleading health benefits too. We can also see the level of factuality for all of them as well as who they're backed by, which is awesome for navigating our media-filled landscape today. We really genuinely believe that it is worth taking the extra step to subscribe to a nonpartisan news platform that will go the extra mile to keep you informed. And that's why we love Ground News. So if you want to check it out, we encourage you to dive right in by going to ground.news/LH or scanning this QR code to get started. You can join for less than $1 a month or use the link in our description to get 40% off their Unlimited Access Vantage plan, which is like the whole meal deal. It's the one that we use. Thank you, Ground News, for the continued support. We love you. So I read a bunch of articles for this video, and basically anyone with any expertise in the field that was interviewed about these beverages were skeptical. The main reason is that there just isn't really enough studies on the effects of prebiotics or adaptogens or whatever that they're putting into these beverages. And then there's also this secondary aspect that the way that you consume something matters. Like eating a salad to lose weight as a concept makes some sense, but if the salad is actually just the lettuce in a burger, it might not be making the kind of difference that you're expecting, you know? Plus, the cherry on the top of this is that the entire functional soda category doesn't actually have any approved health benefits by the FDA. Specifically when it comes to those adaptogenic sodas, which we'll talk about later, they fall under the category of supplements, which are regulated completely differently. Rules for supplements are far less strict, which means that they can make a bunch of claims without really having to back anything up, and there's no guarantee of how much or how little of any particular ingredient is in there. Is it the rhodiola? Fuck. Is it the rhodiola that's improving your mood? Or is it the fun, sparkly drink after a long day of work? Is it the ashwagandha that's making you less stressed out? Or could it just be the mere act of cracking open a cold can of something and letting the placebo effect take over? Now back to the prebiotic soda for a second. I've tried Cove, which is like the Canadian equivalent of this, and I thought it was gross, honestly. Now, to be fair, these are marketed as kombucha drinks, which is like a little different than the other functional sodas because they're fermented technically, but the marketing and the purported health benefits are really similar. This thing was incredibly sweet, and it did kind of taste like classic Coke, I guess, but I would rather just have the real thing the once or twice a year that I happen to drink one, right? But that's exactly the point. I'm not the target demographic for this beverage. This drink category is targeting people who are already drinking soft drinks all the time. And I think we need to be very cautious about a product that markets specifically towards a feeling of guilt or shame around a consumer habit, right? Like, look at this line from the Poppi website. No more hiding cans in the bottom of your recycling bin or sipping sparkling water with your burger and fries. You deserve that mouth-watering swirl of flavor and bubbles without the baggage. Get all the soda feels with 5 grams of sugar, ingredients you can love, and prebiotics. Remember, cravings aren't a crime, people. It's time to love soda again. Like, right now. I don't want to psychoanalyze that too much, but that's clearly a person who struggles with their addiction to sugary drinks, right? And the brand knows that if they can design a product that makes you feel even just a little bit better about your addiction, they're going to sell a bunch of drinks. And it works so well because it's so easy to say yes to something that validates or justifies that feeling, right? Look at this Reddit post I found. How can such a healthy alternative taste so good? I love this stuff. I wish I could invest in it. Its downfall is the cost, but your health is too important. I love every flavor. Ginger ale is the best ginger ale I've ever tasted. It looks like God does love us after all. But there is another layer to this, okay? I said off the top that this trend feels targeted at millennials, people who grew up drinking pop when Coke was just delicious and sometimes vanilla flavored. But we're all getting old and out of shape, but we still want that feeling. There's classic or nostalgic flavors and marketing with every single one of these brands, as I said, but Olipop produced this really weird series called Olipop Soda Stories, where they have like B-list celebrities talk about their childhood or something, and I guess how it relates to certain soda flavors. I don't know, it's kind of cringy, but this guy really specifically just hits all of the talking points that I'm talking about right now.
After practice, first thing that we would do, get off the ice, put your hand in the cooler, you grab a soda, and as I've grown up, I've had to kind of give up on those sodas because I love them, but they didn't love me, which is why I love this particular Olipop flavor. Dr. Goodwin, I don't know, this is the power of nostalgia, right? There's just something about those things that take you back to core memories. Yeah, that's good.
But I think we also have to acknowledge that this is pretty distinctly an American trend at this point. Like, I'm sure eventually this will break out and you'll have functional beverages all over the world maybe, but the United States is really leading this charge. And if you think about it for a second, it's pretty easy to see why. All of the biggest soda producers in the world are headquartered in the United States. They're almost always the ones to pioneer stuff like energy drinks like Monster, or sports beverages like Prime or whatever, or health conscious beverages like vitamin water, right? They've done this before. They also happen to make beer as light as possible just so they could drink more of them at one time. And then there's the whole Mormon culture that has a sort of soda freestyle league that is blowing up at the same time as these functional sodas are. I went to a soda shop in Provo, Utah 2 or 3 years ago, and this is basically a place where they mix different sodas and syrups together to make new combinations with crazy names, and they taste crazy too.
With your soda beverage, you can also buy cookies, which is really interesting. And then while you're at it, you can do your missionary donation, I guess.
I have a premonition here that we will probably be producing a Dirty Sodas episode on this channel in the near future. But if you look at it for a second, we have really the perfect context for new drink categories to flourish, right? A country of people that have been raised in drink culture, hesitance and negative sentiments towards traditional soda brands, and a growing sober movement. But on top of this, there's a huge financial opportunity at play here. I think one of the biggest reasons why these beverages are so popular is because companies know they can charge way more for them. Like, pop has historically been cheap, like cheaper than water in a lot of cases. When you're fighting those economies of scale, it's hard for competitors to emerge, but these new drinks are pricey. A 12-pack of Olipop Classics is $36 before you get to the taxes and shipping. Compare that to a classic Coke at Walmart for $8.28. We're talking about 4x the amount of money that you can make off of every beverage at this price point. And for a consumer category that serves repeat buyers, this is a huge deal. And so at this point, companies know that they don't really have to get it right. They just have to enter the market with something half decent that promises a bunch of amazing things, and they're probably going to make a bunch of money. And so this category has produced a bunch of really eclectic beverages. And remember, this is a category that is not FDA regulated, so they can kind of say whatever they want to, right? Probably the most interesting one is Kin Euphorics, which is a beverage company co-founded by Bella Hadid, who is a super famous model. Kin Euphorics produces functional beverages uniquely layered with adaptogens, nootropics, and botanics to nourish the mind and body. Recess is a new specifically alcohol-free beverage that uses stuff like guayusa, L-theanine, and lemon balm, hemp ginseng, and magnesium L-threonate to make you feel good stuff. instead of all of the bad stuff. There's a huge category here that is exploding because of the sober movement. Like if you have a problem with alcohol, or you just want to drink less alcohol, or you feel bad about drinking alcohol, something that promises an elevated, more balanced feeling after you drink it is going to be way more appealing. And you might even be willing to pay like $5 or $6 a can to feel it. Veal is another one, making fizzy beverages with adaptogens and antioxidants and organic caffeine. I don't know how caffeine that's organic is different than non-organic caffeine. Maybe I should look into it, I don't know. And these are just the ones that are like kind of mainstream. Like there's probably a bunch of different niche versions of these state by state that you could share with us down in the comments below if you want us to look into some more. But the way things are going, we are going to be Googling more words and terminology every single day just to keep up. Because they also know that most people aren't going to look into it that much. They're buying these beverages based on vibes and the blind faith that this habit will be at least a little healthier than the one that they're trying to kick. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you're subscribed, we will see you next week for yet another episode.